I just want to talk about the me back then versus now. The me before I learned to love myself versus learning to love myself. And I want to use the poem that I wrote, Comfort Me, as an example. There are things that I felt that I needed, but now it's more like a want after learning to love myself, because I feel like having loved myself has just made everything else feel like a bonus. So, therefore, if ever, I'm not saying I will, I don't know if I will ever get into a relationship again, but to me, it's like that's my opinion. To me, it's like a bonus. I want it, I don't need it anymore. I know what it's like being in a relationship and feeling and having expectations and never really having those expectations met. A lot of people are in relationships that they are miserable in. It's not what they thought it would be, or maybe it started off good because, you know, the person they were with were impressed, were putting on a show, a charade, trying to impress, and all of a sudden things are not the way they used to be. Or maybe they fall out of love. Like these things happen because sometimes, like, people rush into relationships so much, like so quickly, and really didn't know that the person that they're with right now, and now that they're actually finding out things, they realize, like, what, it's like they're asking themselves a question, like, what did I fall in love with? I mean, what, why did I fall in love with that person to begin with, you know? um I don't know, like, I don't want anyone to feel like I'm promising them anything, because I'm not. I feel like if I'm ready for something, or I feel like if I'm not ready for something, but you are, by all means, go ahead. I'm not forcing anyone to wait for me, because I don't know for myself. I don't know if I'll ever feel that connection I'm potentially seeking, and you might feel like there's chemistry, but chemistry goes both ways. Connection goes both ways. The feeling of connection goes both ways. The feeling of chemistry goes both ways. You might have a few things in common with somebody, but that doesn't mean that maybe one thing might make the biggest difference. Like, a lot of people have things in common with people that they're not necessarily in a relationship with. And another thing that I wanted to say, like, I've met people who, the one person I mentioned in that video that I had almost like a true soul connection with, um, one of the reasons why I couldn't be with him is because we're in different countries. And I cannot, no, like, I cannot be in a relationship. I never thought I would be interested in long distance relationships to begin with. But I cannot confirm a relationship without meeting a person, because having a connection or feeling like there's a connection over the internet is not the same thing as having a connection when you meet somebody, because it's it's harder it's to judge someone's character through the internet or over the internet. And maybe if that person had the opportunity to be close to me, they would just turn out to be like pretty much every other guy that I've met, you know? So I can't really judge solely on what I feel through the screen. And I also don't want to, I did a whole video about no pressure. So I don't want anyone to feel pressured in any way. And I feel like whether you agree or not, I don't want pressure either. And that's the quickest way to get to make me not want a potential relationship with someone, to pressure me. I felt like I've been pressured so much in my life, and now that I love myself, I know who I am. I don't want to be in that position again. It's not a good feeling. There are people out there who like it. I've seen a lot of girls say that they like people to apply the pressure. So why don't you go after those women who are wanting the pressure? Stop trying to convince somebody who is not looking or is not interested in something at the moment. And if you can't be patient, then again, I'm not promising you anything because I don't even know for myself if I really want a relationship. That connection and chemistry goes both ways. So is communication. So I feel like there's, not I feel like, I know there are billions of people in this world, billions of people in this world. Well, I don't understand why people feel like they need to try to pressure one individual or try to force one individual into something that they're not ready for just because they're ready for it. If you're ready for it, there are a lot of other people out there who are ready for it. Maybe they might not have the qualities that I have, but a lot of us settle. Most people settle. Even for jobs, most people settle. I don't want to settle, but I also don't think my perfect match is out there. I honestly don't feel like it is. And that's why I'm okay with my standards. That's why I'm okay with my preference because it's just, you know, it just makes me feel a little bit better knowing that what I want, I'd rather know that what I want is probably um, not out there than to risk getting with someone that is gonna, you know, abuse me potentially. And I mean, I think I've said this before, but I just don't want to risk it, you know? And that's why my walls are so high up. And I'm not willing to, I mean, seriously, I've been single for so long. I don't know what makes people think that someone is going to be single voluntarily and without sex for so long, but be willing to jump into a relationship because that particular individual came along. If we have chemistry, which is supposed to go both ways, if we have connection, which again is supposed to go both ways, then maybe. But as much as the way I feel right now, as much as I might want a relationship, I just feel like my fear of being hurt by another individual or cheated on by another individual. Yeah, that's a story I might tell in the future. That's um, about my second relationship. But those things just my fear is stronger than my my want when it comes to a relationship. And I hear people say, "Oh, you shouldn't be fear. You shouldn't have fear and whatever." But like, I'm not fearful about everything. I am fearful about a lot of things, but um, when it comes to a relationship, that's dealing with your heart. And some people may be able to, be in a relationship without getting attached, but I don't want that kind of relationship. And just like that guy I mentioned again in that, the one that I almost had a soul connection with, if it so happens that I may gain feelings for somebody who's not in the same country that I am in, like, if it so happens again, then maybe, like, but I can't promise a relationship. I'd rather be in a relationship potentially with someone who is in the country that I'm living in. So for some reason, I just feel the need to say this because I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. I'm not trying to lead anybody on, and I'm not trying to have anybody pressure me because that's the fastest way to get rid of me, to pressure me. Some people like it. I'm not one of them.